This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin, and not so much with altcoins. You know, as we've been saying, altcoins are generally going to trend with the market, and so whatever Bitcoin does, altcoins, largely speaking, will do that. We've done some serious cash with some of these shitcoins that I bought over the weekend, so that's worked out pretty well. But as I keep reiterating, whatever Bitcoin does, they're going to do. They're not really in the position for a particular alt season of any significance. You can have alt rallies, which is what we got, but Bitcoin is the main deal here, so we'll focus on that. So this is Bitcoin on the daily, above all major moving averages but one, which is your 200 simple moving average, something that we never really talk about or reference, and I suppose it does have relevance for Bitcoin because it trends a little slower than others, and so slower moving charts. Simple moving averages do have some significance, although exponentials are my preference. As it is the only moving average that's above us, we've found a natural rejection from it, and that comes in at 48,250, thereabouts. So if we go to the daily, we're not really looking at any kind of dwindling of momentum. There's no reason to suggest that this can't go up a little further, maybe break out from that moving averages and push all the way up to 52,500, which is our major area of resistance that's above us, right, on a horizontal basis. That could happen. Like I say, there's nothing to suggest that the momentum is really dying out on the daily. On the 4-hourly, although we don't have bearish divergence, we are ticking down on the histogram here, so maybe offering a bit of a pullback, maybe to the top of this resistance zone, which is about 45,800. You could call it 46,000 flat. The bottom side of that, though, is 44,000. So if we were to think about that on a measured move, from where we are at this particular moment in time, 3.4%, that's the 46,000 kind of area, and the 44,000 kind of area is about 7.5. So that's all perfectly fine, and I would say I wouldn't really be too concerned about that. We were talking about how the buy signal, Friday, I think we spotted it Friday, and we were talking about it through the weekend, which is the itchy cloud setup for a continuation of a trend. And we didn't want this cheeky span to touch the price action. That would not completely cancel it out, but it would cancel it out as far as I was concerned. I wouldn't really be looking to take it on face value at that point. So we managed to avoid that, and now that we're so far above the candle bodies, we can actually sustain a drop all the way down to 42,500. As long as we're not closing candles below there today, then this conversion baseline and this trend is still very much in play. And again, this is my favorite indicator. This is one of my favorite signals. You get them far and few between, and when you get them, they're usually quite powerful. So this would suggest continuation of a trend, and actually, with that, we can now sustain further downside and expect continuation up as well. So given the fact that I imagine that there's a lot of overexcited leverage traders out there, irresponsible degenerates, basically taking positions at irresponsible levels, there's probably looking for a little bit of a liquidity grab, or a liquidation event, whichever you want to refer it to. Basically a bit of downside, maybe a fast one, wiping out those positions. It happens. It happens. And so even though we don't have any particular signals of major downside, we do have targets, which again could amount to about 7.5% down, back down to the $44,000 zone. But at the moment, the momentum on the longer term time frames, including the trend, do suggest to the up. And I would imagine if we did break above 48,300, which is the simple moving average, the 200 simple, then yeah, 42,000 is where we're likely to move up to next, before I would say a natural pullback from that level. One that maybe we would require maybe a week or two to cool off from, and reaccumulate, consolidate, and so on. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's looking pretty good. We're above all major moving averages on the weekly, which is great. We're above pretty much all on the daily, which is great. The 4-hourly is still looking good, although some of these RSIs, money flow indexes, are looking a little overheated, but there's no bearish divergence or hidden bearish divergence, so it still looks pretty good. What this does to altcoins is, if we continue to go sideways throughout the day, we might see some continuation with altcoins. Yeah, altcoins do generally have that opportunity in a sideways market, but since everything moved up so significantly yesterday, I think, you know, across the board, especially for some of these big movers, they ought to consolidate too. Always remember to check the money flow index on the daily to see how high that is, and then give you an idea of how risky it is to take on any more positions. Me personally, I'll be looking for a pullback on this one before looking for any kind of leverage position. Over the weekend I had a trade set up before we broke out from here, but I didn't get to, you know, the criteria wasn't met. We broke out, so I couldn't take that futures trade. I really do want to have a futures position in Bitcoin given this continuation of a trend setup on the daily. I mean, it's one of those setups that doesn't come around very often. The problem is you know, from what position am I going to get in on? And obviously, the higher we go, you know, the less likely I am to be taking on a futures position. I need it to come back down for a bullish retest of some of these levels of support, buying the dip kind of opportunity, really. So I would not want to fall into the trap, which I think many will have at the moment, which is to take on positions futures up here. Now, I'm not saying that it can't break out. So you broke out on a Sunday night while we were at resistance, but buying and long in resistance is never really a good idea, unless, of course, you're extremely bullish. So sideways generally in quite a large range, looking for a pullback for me to put on a futures position, but there's nothing particularly scary about this chart. The only thing that would be scary would be the fact is that there's a lot of people over leveraged at this stage, irresponsible positions that are probably looking for a little bit of a liquidity grab stroke liquidation event. Right, well, I'll leave it with you there. There's a live stream tonight for members of the Patreon, and that's where I'll see you. Other than that, have a nice day and take it easy.